The SMG is man's best friend in Sulfur because it can't be the dogs when everybody seems to hate them. Although, if you're like me, you hate the birds and you build a Ploika Compact just to destroy them because they're just so annoying. The little ones, the little birds. All the other birds, they're all right in my book. I know some people did not love my opinions on the revolvers. That's totally fine. There's only 4 of them, so when you're putting them into place, it's obviously going to be kind of awkward. They're pretty bland across the board in my opinion. I stated that in the video. I wasn't a big fan of the revolvers and I don't know if I ever will be. I only like the Balthazar because it makes me feel cool. That's the only reason. I think it's easily the best designed revolver in the game. I think it looks the coolest. That's the thing. Not everything needs to be about power and buildability. Sometimes the style of the gun is important and whether or not it feels fun while you use it. If a gun is really strong but also really boring, it's not as interesting to me. I don't know. I would rather play with something a little goofier. The Deathstar, being the first SMG on the list, is a great example of that, so we'll just dive right into this. Not only because it's the newest SMG and the only new SMG that's been added to Sulfur, the Deathstar kind of stands out in a way because it's the only semi-auto choice when it comes to SMGs, unless you want to just use a Prime Bolt. Obviously, Prime Bolt's gun cranks, they do the same across the board. I mean, it doesn't really matter what it starts with, right? And if you're me, you're probably going to gun crank the Deathstar right away anyways. But that's not the only outstanding feature of the Deathstar. The Deathstar has arguably the funniest reload animation in the entire game as you dump the bullets into the bottom of the gun thing and then shake it up, which is insane. It looks hilarious. And I know you want to see it jiggle, so I'll make sure I get you a jiggle right here. Daddy will get you those jiggles if you just ask. Hopefully you're not one of those ones who like the jiggle slow. That's a little strange, pal, but I can work something out for you. Even after you gun crank it, it is pretty slow firing, but still gets the job done. I actually kind of like the rate of fire that it has. I usually like a high rate of fire, but it's easily controllable when it's gun cranked. I don't know. It's all right semi-auto, the base kit form. I do think gun cranking it is a little bit more in my speed. And you can also just tap it when it's gun cranked anyways. Outside of that, the mag size is really low. 15 is quite the low mag size for an SMG. I mean, it's kind of shockingly low compared to all the other ones even. It's the lowest by 5, the Drifter 9 being the other one, and we will get to the Drifter 9. So having a low mag size is not ideal for an SMG in any situation. Do the style points save it with that? Probably not. It's not going to be number 1. The only thing it does better than its compadres here is have the lowest spread of 2, which is a nice little feature for an SMG. The more accurate it can be, the better, and you don't have to put realistically any oils into it to get that spread down more. Unless you chisel it with something crazy like a 12 gauge chisel, then obviously you might have to work a couple of spread oils in there if you're interested in that. It also has a shockingly low durability at 2,000, and I only say shocking because the rest is what, 3,300, 3,000, 3,000, and 3,000, so they're all right there. It almost seems like when Perfect Random was designing the gun, they wanted to level it out because it's semi-auto at start. Once again, gun cranks are so easy to find that doesn't matter, and I think it does deserve to need some work, but I'm not going to put it in there because I still think it's really fun, and the idea of the gun jiggle is still really cool. I didn't see that coming, and I personally think it's an amazing idea for a gun, and it's that perfect level of wackiness that Perfect Random seems to perfectly encompass. Oh, what do I do? Okay, we need more of this. I gotta be honest, when I'm ranking the SMGs, I actually think this is a lot easier than the revolvers or the pistols because I've used so many of the SMGs. I've used them all quite a fair bit. The Drifter 9, mostly when I was a beginner in the game, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with that. That's usually when you find a Drifter 9. I don't know, RNG in this game is weird. I always see a lot of people say, why is RNG so weird? I find 15 Taylor Marksmans, but I can't find 1 extra Dirk or something. It's like, RNG is weird in this game. No one knows the exact numbers that are going in. If they do, they're like a super nerd. Why would they talk to us? We're too cool for that, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you and I, couple of cool guys, right? Okay, yeah, that's cool thing to say. Cool to mention how cool you are. Is what I think. Probably right. But I do feel like the Drifter 9 is a bit outclassed, and it's similar to the Deathstar with a lower rate of fire. Now, I think it is a little bit faster than the Deathstar when, you crank that thing out. Actually, it's not. Wow, it's 100 RPM slower than the Deathstar. That's not always a negative, but you are getting an extra level of spread. Only 5 more bullets. If you're a stats fan, that's not the best thing in the world. Also, the design is really boring. Come on, it's just like a little pistol. I remember when I first found one, I thought it was a pistol. It's just a little brown pistol. It's not interesting to look at. It's not powerful by any means. It's a really good starter SMG, I think. That's the best way to put it. When you find one, it feels really good to start, but once you use the other ones, I don't think it even comes close. I'm gonna put it in mid. It's basically the Dirk of the SMGs. I'm sure there's some fans that really like the style of the Drifter 9. It's perfect for them, but me personally, I think it's the least palpable of the group, and that's a spoiler for the next 3 coming up. That is my least favorite SMG, is the Drifter 9. I do think there are ways you can enjoy decking it out, but it's hard because every time I start to make a build for the Drifter 9, I'm like, I could do this with another one of the SMGs and probably have a little bit more fun with it. I guess that might just be me. The Termite is one of, if not the most controversial gun in the game, but it's also one of the most unique guns in the game. It's the only burst fire gun in the entire game. Now, you can make a burst fire gun by just using a couple of multi-projectile oils or using one multiple projectile oil if you do it right, and then you're shooting 3 bullets at once, maybe slow down the RPM of that gun. I've done it with the Fisk. It worked really well. I made an M16 basically, and I really enjoy that gun. But the Termite is the only gun that actually has that burst fire capability built into it. So to me, it does get points for uniqueness alone. Like, that's straight up, I won't argue that. It's very unique in that. The problem is the reload. The reload is really long. You gotta load all 3 bullets one at a time. It's up there with the Bronco with being annoying to reload. However, I do think it's a lot stronger than the Bronco, especially when it's in your hands and using it. I remember using the Termite to get all the way through dungeon. My first time beating dungeon, the Termite was my little best friend. It was super, super strong against popping masks accurately and quickly without any oils, by the way. Before putting oils on it, it's very strong and very good for that. It's got decent mag size, a decent RPM. I mean, like, it's got the same RPM as the Vrede. Actually, the Vrede and the Termite are very similar SMGs. They just work very differently. If you want to use the Termite and have a decent bit of fun, you basically have to make it infinite ammo because that reload is a slog no matter who you're talking to. And that's just how it's built. That's just how the gun is. I think maybe it could benefit from a small damage boost. I can't put it in busted. Personally, if we're talking about playability and fun factor, I still put the Deathstar above it because, like I said, the metrics for this aren't just what's the strongest. I wanted to do the best overall gun because some guns are really strong, but say they take up a bunch of inventory space or the reload is bad. I do think that hurts the playability, and the point of playing a game is to have fun. I think strong has the best factor, like, you know, power has the most it can give to a weapon to make it rise up the ranks. Power is really important, but I think the overall experience design is really important too, and I think the Termite could stand to, you know, get a buff. I think a buff to damage would make the reload maybe a little bit worth the wait. Also, I've noticed that when you chisel it, the spread is so much more noticeable. Like if you put like a BMG chisel on there or whatever, you basically can't use it because the recoil pop-up gives, like, I guess so that's not spread, it's more like the recoil. Those shots a bit pop. So unless you're barrel stuffing them, it's honestly not very usable without some incredible recoil oils attached to it, and that's kind of annoying when you could probably get better value out of like a Star and Witness or any of the assault rifles that are chiseled into a BMG. So the Termite, that recoil thing is weird too, but I still really like the gun, and I think you can make some really creative and fun builds out of it. And it's very much a Sulfur gun, you know. It's like a staple gun to Sulfur. When you think of Sulfur, you think of crap like the Termite, and you gotta appreciate it for that. Maybe that's why they call it a Termite, because it's a pest to some of you, but to others, we're already pests, so it's like a camaraderie. I know, I only mentioned this because I know some people adamantly hate the Termite, and when you even whisper the name, they're like, shut that shit down now. Don't you dare bring up Termite when I'm playing my Sulfur, man. That's not a real conversation that a human would have. Now we get to the bottom 2, and this is where it gets tricky, and I might even pull like a surprise card and rank them at the same time, because the Ploika Compact and the Vrede do 2 different things so freaking well. One does one thing really well. The other one does another thing really well. And actually, I'm going to break it up, because if I do them at the same time, it's just going to ruin the chapters thing. I want to stress that both of these are very good in their own way. I could easily see either one taking the top spot for anybody. So going alphabetically, we will start with the Ploika. I always go alphabetical with these. The Ploika could easily be your favorite gun in the entire game because it does so many things right with such a small inventory space. Taking up only 4 slots, you could build a variety of different guns with this thing. Too bad we don't have SMG trinkets or like come on, this thing would be amazing. But being able to just stash it away in one of your inventory storages in the church is incredible for that cost of only 4 slots. That makes it so easy to build something with. The buildability with this is unmatched in the entire game. The only other thing I can think of is the flicker because of the utility. With this, you're also getting 3,000 durability, so if you prime bolt it and make it a semi-auto, 3,000? Off the rip, you essentially can do whatever you want with it. But not only that, you've got a mag size of 40. So if you make it semi-auto, you can use a bunch of oils that have extra ammo consumed chance. Now, when did you see that one coming? Usually we're like, use infinite ammo. But if you have a clip size of 40 and it's a semi-auto, that's the right time to start using some of those. But not only that, it shoots an incredible rate of 1,500 RPM. So if you start dicking around with RPM oils, whether it's negative or positive, if you're a psychopath, and I love you psychopaths for that, because you gotta love yourself. You can do some absolutely wild things. The varied customization of this thing is incredible. I absolutely love using Ploikas for just about anything. Maybe my favorite thing to do is build like a goofy sniper. Again, an assault rifle with the trinkets is going to be better for a sniper because you want that high damage if you're using a sniper because you're not shooting as fast. But the fact that the Ploika takes up 4, if I want to try a sniper build and maybe not use it as much, I can store it away and not have to worry about getting rid of it. It's also great for utility as well. Like I've made a lawnmower gun out of it. You can make like a flamethrower out of it. You can make a pocket rocket out of it if you wanted to. It's just so versatile, and the buildability is unmatched in this game. There's nothing else that's easier to build. Ploika is going in the top spot for now. I mentioned earlier that the Termite and the Vrede are very, very similar, and stats-wise, it is incredibly close. I mean, it's strange how close they are. Obviously, when you use a Vrede compared to the Termite, it's not the same thing at all. But when you look at the stats, and I'm going to look at them with you here, you see 60 damage, right? All the SMGs are the same damage. You know, if you chisel them, say the Deathstar does start with the 5.56, so it's got a noticeable damage increase without a chisel. But these are not about the base kit. I've mentioned that a million times. These aren't the base kits. You've got 800 RPM for both of them. The mag size is the same at 30. The spread is the same at 2.5, and the durability is the same at 3,000. So it's really just kind of an issue with the reload speed. The Vrede, to reload it, it's like any other gun. You just drop the clip out, you put another one in, bing bang, you're moving. Also, design-wise, I do like the style of the Termite. It looks cool. Looks like something they'd be using in like Desert Storm or some shit, you know? I mean, it's got a nice sandy military look to it, but the Vrede looks like something Batman would be hiding in case the Joker goes too far or something, you know? Because I don't think Batman's supposed to be killing people, but if he was, the Vrede would be his number. That's what he would use in Sulfur, you know? Just because you don't kill people IRL doesn't mean... I got monetized, and I don't think this is a conversation I should be having. But Batman would absolutely love the Vrede. It's such a weird and unique design. It's so strange. A submachine gun designed by the late gunsmith Elias von Vrede is said to have turned the tide in the Third War for the Hell Throne. Huh? I don't know what any of that means. What's the Hell Throne? This is starting to sound like Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which is my least favorite name for a video game. But the Vrede has to be, as far as damage output goes, and consistency and easy to build and make a powerful gun out of, it's number 1. I do think it's the strongest SMG. It's your generic pick. It's like the Corpse Maker for SMGs. Spoiler alert, the Corpse Maker is a very consumable assault rifle in this game. We know that. I guess I could have said like the Gravekeeper for pistols is a very safe pick. Although this is better than the Gravekeeper is because it's not safe. It's strong. And I honestly want to tie these two because I do think the Ploika is more fun to build. You get the added bonus of the extra RPM. You get the size only being 4, the bigger magazine. I think it is a little bit more buildable to make whatever you want, you know, your chocolate factory of guns there. But the Vrede, I do think, is stronger. It can hold itself really well. And I don't know. It's tough. It's a lot easier to control, too. It's got a lot less spread. I didn't mention that. The Ploika does start with a massive spread of 5. So much that I sound like a fucking choking over here talking about it. But I do think it makes up for it in all those other areas that I had mentioned when I talked about the Ploika. We're on to the Vrede. Forget about the Ploika for just a second. What I'm trying to get across is the Vrede is the prototypical SMG. It's the safe pick. I know, I should give you a number 1, but it depends on what you're looking for. I don't think there is a standout SMG in the game that is leagues above the other guns. I do think that is the case for the when it comes to revolvers. I kind of think the is better than the... I don't know about standout, but I don't think they're tied. At least for me, I think the way more fun if we're speaking on pistols. I shouldn't be spoiling the other videos in case you haven't seen them, but you should have went and watched those when I started talking about them. I won't do that in the future. In fact, I should cut that out. I'll bleep it. I'll bleep it this time. I'll actually do it. I always say I'm going to bleep something and then forget, and then I don't do it. But the Vrede is the safe pick. It is the SULFUR SMG. It's the strong one. Like, the Ploika is kind of weird because of how buildable it is and still very usable, and it's good in its own base kit, too. Not that base kits matter, but it is good there, too. And that design of the Vrede. Honestly, the design of the Vrede, that Batman look, does make me want to pump it up above Ploika, but the biggest draw of SULFUR is gun customization, using the oils, the scrolls. That is why you're here. That is what the end game is building guns, making the weirdest, wonkiest shit you can imagine. That's why you're playing this game after you beat all the levels. Most likely. Or you want to collect everything and see what else is in the game. Most likely you enjoy that heavy customization of gun building. So that's why I gotta tie them. I think they're really just neck and neck. It's 1-1. I don't know how you could really pick one. If you can, I would love to hear your reasoning behind your favorite. If it's not one of these two, that's fine too. Give me your full ranking in the comments. Let's see the full thing. What you got for me? All right, I already know the Drifter 9 fans clicked off immediately, and then they wrote like a 5-sentence paragraph about how I am dumb and I don't got anything else, but they probably didn't do that. I don't think there's anyone that stands with Drifter that hard, right? I don't know. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I don't know. The SMGs are kind of concerning to me in this game because they're so cool and unique, and they all stand out from one another. Yet we don't have a trinket. We have a trinket for assault rifles. We have a trinket for revolvers. But in my opinion, the SMGs are so much more interesting than the revolvers, and you can kind of make a case that they're more interesting than the assault rifles too. Some of the assault rifles, like 3 of them, play very similar to each other, kind of, but not really. But kind of. These are all really different. It's a very varied gun class, and if there was trinkets, I think these would get a lot of attention. But when you're talking about buildability, obviously getting a flat 60% damage increase just from not wearing your 4-leaf clovers for once is pretty incredible, and that's why assault rifles are so busted in this game. But I really, really, really like the gun typing here. I wish we could have made a rule at the beginning saying no talking about trinkets, none of that crap. But they're in the game, and we can't ignore that they're in the game. We have to accept that you can be a stronger person if you're using a stronger gun, and it's poignant, right? I mean, it's important too. I still love them though. They're still my little guys, and they still pack a real big punch. And at the bottom of the list, we're looking at the Drifter 9. I don't like the design. I flat out just don't like it. I don't think it looks that great. I kind of like the clip coming out to the side. That's pretty neat. I love that idea. You know, those guns that are like that are really cool. You know, you feed the clip thing through, and then, yeah, I mean, that's all cool and everything, but brown and black are, ugh. Granted, the Ploika is the same, but I like the Ploika for what I could do to it. Yeah, wait, that's not fair. I don't know. The Ploika is boring, to be honest. The design of the gun is a little bit more interesting, right? You know, just like a freaking blast off kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think the Drifter could honestly, it's not bad though. I think I'm just going to put it in pretty stinking good. The more I talk about it being at the bottom, the more I'm like, it's not terrible. Honestly, all the SMGs are good. I don't think the Drifter 9 is mid. I really don't. I'm going to, lateral move. Get out of here. You don't belong here. You're all very decent, viable guns to use. Get shit on. Right above the Drifter, I would say I prefer the Termite. I think the Termite's unique burst fire makes it fun to make some wacky builds with, and it could be really, really strong if you kit it out just right, get the recoil under control, maybe put a shotgun chisel on it, and slow down the RPM so you can't have to worry, I should say you don't have to worry about recoil as much. It could be really good. It could be really good and really fun. Probably gonna have to make it infinite ammo though, champ. I might love the Deathstar a little bit more than most people, but I do appreciate its unique reload animation. I think that's very fun. I think it gives a more of a meaning to use reload oils instead of just fixing the reload of a gun. But I could easily see with these stats, 15 magazine size, super low. Durability being 2,000, that's really low too. Granted, it's not as fast as some of the other ones outside of the Drifter. I almost think the durability might be a bug. Probably should be given at least 500 to 700 more. That's a really big drop off. A whole 1,000 from the next guy is really strange. Doesn't seem right. Now, granted, that doesn't matter because that's what it is. It might be intentional. I love Perfect Granted, but they have not proven to be the best at picking durability values right off the rip. I mean, they had to give increases across the board to pretty much every gun post-launch. You know, no disrespect, but you don't know exactly how people are going to feel about it until they get their hands on it, and that is a low durability. I haven't noticed too much of an issue with that personally, but I usually build them strong enough to where it's like a 1 to 2 shot kind of blast and they're gone. But I can already tell most people are probably not going to agree with me. I just think the gun, it's a honeymoon thing. It's a honeymoon thing. Get over it, dude. Look, I'll throw it over here. Who cares? No, get over it. It's a honeymoon thing. I like it. It's new. It's my new toy. The reload is kind of long, too. Look, you got to pay for the jiggle, honey. All right? You got to pay for the jiggle. Next up, you're sitting there sweating. You're saying, Vrede, it doesn't matter which one, all right? These are tied. So I'm going to talk about them, and then I'm going to put the audio over the other audio, and you're going to hear both of my reasonings at once. Just kidding. That sounds like actual word diarrhea, and I'm not going to do that. But since I put Vrede behind the Ploika initially, I'll talk about the Ploika first. The Ploika is tied for first, so technically, there is no winner here. Is that how that works? If you're both first, there's no winner, kid. That does sound like something a mean coach would say before they take away your orange slices and goldfish crackers. It's true. I just think they both do something unique, and I already talked to no end about what makes the Ploika special. Its buildability, it's unmatched in this game with such a small inventory size, and the really high RPM is very unique and fun, and the high ammo count, once again, is very unique and fun. In a game with so many different unique guns, the Ploika is such a fun little gun. If you haven't had the chance to build one yet, build it, and you're going to see why many people, including myself, consider it a little buddy, and it's hard not to default to it sometimes, to be like, I should just build this with a Ploika. This could be easier if I build it with a Ploika. Maybe 4 or 5 guns in this game that is how you're going to react to it in your head. You're going to say, I could build this with the Ploika. Maybe I should be doing this with a Taylor Marksman. Maybe I should be doing this with a Corpse Maker. And that's also going to be personal preference. Every tier ranking in the history of mankind has always been personal preference. Whatever guns get your stomach feeling all warm and fuzzy, that's the ones you're going to want to reach for. And lastly, the Vrede taking the top spot with the Ploika, Batman's best friend that he can't use because he's got a solemn vow to put him in the Gotham prison. Why am I so heavy on Batman? I actually like Marvel more than I like DC. I like DC, I do. I like the villains of DC, but this is about the Vrede, not killing the villains of DC, which would be cool to watch Batman do that. I'm sure he's done it at some point. That's how comic books do it. Eventually they're like, hey, fuck it. Take away all their core moral values and start having them do the opposite. I don't know what it is, but that's comic books. It's just that they're around for too long, Just like me talking about this has been going on for way too long. But the Vrede is your prototypical standard SMG. When you think of an SMG, you think of the Vrede. This is how an SMG should work, and it's perfect. It's great. It's one of the guns in the game that doesn't deserve to be touched at all. Don't change it one bit, and I think we're fine. That's interesting to think about. There's a gun that you're like, yeah, I don't see anything that would need a change on this, right? And if they do add like decals and stuff, we've talked about this before, this would be really cool to put some like little stickers on here, maybe like a little, like your waifu right here, like a Ralphie waifu decal. Let me make this clear. If you guys are dead set in putting decals in your game or whatever, give me my Ralphie waifu stickers and we're fine. I'm fine. You and I, we're going to get along just fine, Mr. Perfect Random. That is my list. I think all the guns are really good, and wherever you want to put them, I'll probably agree with. And I'm sure you've got a very good reason for it, because the SMGs are a class that make a lot of sense. There is one outlier. I'll move him behind the Drifter 9 for public opinion, but I'll move him right back because I do like the Termite. It saved me in some really clutch encounters. However, a lot of people do have issue with the Termite, and that's fine. Funny thing is, nobody has issues with the members of this channel. Hey, I appreciate the heck out of you, and I'm still working on exclusive videos. If I was a good boy, there should have been an exclusive video that dropped today for me to say thank you for everything you guys have done, and I appreciate the members of the channel. I appreciate the subscribers, commenters, likers, but I got to give a shout out to the joiners, the members, because you guys go above and beyond to throw a little something at your boy, and your boy and his family appreciate it. Until next time, which will be ranking another gun. Also, I forgot to do this. I couldn't do the Susu yesterday. It was Easter. I'm recording this on the 21st. I always sound like I'm like a hostage. This is being recorded on the 21st. I am fine. They just removed 3 of my fingers. Yesterday was Easter. I didn't know it was Easter because I'm a sacrilegious fuck, and I totally forgot. But I have a baby, so I'm like, yeah, we should probably celebrate Easter, hide some eggs or something, right? Yeah, didn't get a chance to record a Susu. I do apologize. I did update everyone in the Discord, so that's probably the best place if you're looking for information that I feel like is not necessarily needs to be cemented in a YouTube post forever, but a quick update, because I don't use Twitter, because Twitter's like mostly political, and I'm not that, so. I wanted to think of a political joke, to ride this one out, but I honestly have none, so. Yeah, just another crappy ending for me.